Thank you for subscribing to my YouTube channel. We have a great episode today about listing your property. Let's sell it, all right? So I'm gonna go over some key factors about pretty much what the realtor does behind the curtain. A lot of people aren't aware of all the work and negotiations and just a lot of back end stuff that happens when it comes to listing your property, not just from a marketing standpoint, but a lot more goes into it. So we're going to go through these one by one, and I'm going to break down why you pay a realtor to list your property versus doing it on your own. Right. So you're in your initial appointment when you're interviewing your agents to sell your house. In this appointment, it is super important that you don't only just get along with the person that you're interviewing, but that they bring a lot of value to what you want to get done, right? Making sure that not only are they an expert at what they do, at the local trends, familiar with the area, that they're very resourceful, and obviously that they'll bring a lot of value to the process. So making sure that they have a ton of vendors and access to people in the process. If you need things fixed or whatever the case may be, that's super important as well. So in this initial appointment, they will check out the property, assess any upgrades, renovations, kind of compile a baseline CMA, which is a comparative market analysis of comparable properties, to see kind of where you are as a baseline. And after seeing the condition of the home, you kind of get an idea like, okay, this looks totally different than what it last sold for. They've done this, they've done that, they put money in this, and kind of pull more data from to configure the value of the home. So not only will they figure out, cost of upgrades, those are not dollar for dollar, as I'm sure a lot of you people are aware of. You don't get the same amount for putting a fence in. It doesn't equate the same whenever you list a property, unfortunately. But create a CMA, which is the compared market analysis, and take a couple properties to maybe 5 properties in the area to complete the subdivision in a short amount of time. Usually it's like 6 months, no more than a year. But I mean, every market's different and every area is different. So that will change. But that'll give you an idea to what the house would most likely appraise at. It does not give you what the house is really worth, because a house is worth what somebody's going to pay for it, to be honest, right? If you want to pay $20,000 or $30,000 over, have at it. That's what it's worth to somebody. But the data will show something different, obviously. During this meeting, this is where the agent should be very, very clear on expectations. They should be talking to you as the seller and going over several different situations or outcomes that might arise, whether that is hiccups with title, any type of like encroachments or surveys or liens on the property, permits that might not be closed out because of renovations or something that happened a while ago, deed problems or issues that might arise because a legal description is messed up or whatever it may be. Like, there's so many different variables that could happen here. And so it's good to make sure that they've done their homework and really check the property out, and the property appraiser website and all that stuff, and just really knows the place in and out, essentially. They'll also be going over tips that you should do to the home to bring a little bit more value or people in the door. So this might be cleaning gutters, replacing some things, some minor things. It might be replacing some big things. It just depends on how much you want to get for the property and how much do you really want to put into it. Pressure washing goes a long way. You can make a house look brand new. Decks, pressure wash, cement walkways, make them look, nice and sparkly. It could be curb appeal. It could be painting your child's purple or neon yellow room white. I mean, something so simple like that, that really just makes it more aesthetically pleasing and gets more people through the door. Following this would be your net sheet. So once you've kind of figured out an idea of where you could price it, you want to see how much you're obviously going to make on it in different scenarios, right? Because let's be honest, that's That's the most important part. Okay. So the net sheet's super important. Your agent should definitely be providing that to you at different price points, and especially when it comes to my favorite multiple offer scenarios. So I use a spreadsheet because that's my jam, but laying out all the offers and seeing what your client is going to net is just, it makes it clean, it makes it easy to understand, and let's face it, a lot of people are visual learners, right? So always being prepared with a net sheet for especially multiple offer scenarios. The next one is going to be the listing agreement. This is where we sign and we kind of go over important factors of what the agent does for the seller and what the seller should be doing for the agent, and just making sure that there's a homeostasis with the relationship. So commission is super important. That ranges, as you know, it's negotiable, but I mean, it could be 6%, it could be in upwards of 10% or whatever it is. And that percentage is split between so many different factors, right? You got the 2 brokerage companies, you've got the 2 agents, you've got taxes, you've got whatever money was spent in marketing, like professional photos and all that jazz, because I take care of that for my listings. But there's so many things that go into that commission piece. So if you see a percentage and you're just like, oh my gosh, that's so much, like actually it really isn't when it's broken down, plain and simple. I'm not trying to hide anything from anybody. There's a lot of work that goes into that. So that will be a whole nother different episode though. But yeah, so signing the listing agreement, and then we can move to the fun part, getting pictures, the floor plan, and marketing. This is so important. So I'm a huge fan of Facebook ads, Instagram, like the whole 9 yards, right? So making sure that you post on all platforms, whether it's coming soon advertisements, whether it's just listed and, under contract, in the event that it falls through, you want backup offers and all this jazz. So I always market it to everything and to everyone. I'll send it out into a mass email to the agents on the MLS, the multiple listing service, which the listing goes on to every agent in the area and beyond. So that's huge in my book. And that's where a lot of agents should be bringing value to their clients. It's kind of sad to see a $3 million property and it looks like photos are done with a phone. Next one's a good one. It's open houses. Yeah, I love me a good open house. I just love people most of the time. So open houses usually are done the weekend after the listing goes live. So say you go live on Monday or you go live on Wednesday, that's a popular day. There's an open house typically Saturday or Sunday or both days, so for about a couple hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever the agent and the seller agree on. There'll be an open house to let as many people in the door, show them the property, give them some materials, maybe some snacks, goodies, whatever, and really get to see what the feedback is on the property by filling out little forms, their clients, agents, everybody, to give to the seller so they can see what everybody's vibing. So that is super important. Usually I do a weekend, depending on the property. I'll do a broker's open house on some, the larger properties, estates and whatnot, and kind of have a big gathering or party. That always is a lot of fun and brings a lot of people through the door too, and high net worth clients as well. So hopefully after the open house, you have several offers at your fingertips. One would hope, right? If you do, that's a great opportunity to strategize a deadline and take your final and best from everybody, and then negotiate from there. So if you don't have a ton of offers, or not, maybe you don't have anything at all, then take the feedback with a grain of salt, reassess the strategy, maybe a couple weeks, to see how everything's moving along, depending on how long it's been on the market, and then reevaluate if there needs to be a price drop, Maybe you need to do some work to the property, who knows? So that would be the time to advise what would be the best scenario for the client. But hopefully not. Hopefully you have a ton of offers and you're able to pick and choose and get exactly what you want, right? And if you don't foresee it moving as fast as you would have hoped, maybe have a second open house in like a week or, you know, a week and a half, whatever it is. But definitely reevaluating on the price, because if you overprice a house, like it does so much to you. It sits on the market so much longer. You're less likely to get your bottom line. Like there's a method to the madness, I promise. But so it's always good, depending on whatever market you're in, to price accordingly. And a lot of sellers will be like, oh, well, I want to get this much for it. That means I'm going to have to price it at X. Well, if the last property that's sold in the area that's $30,000, $40,000 less, like it's highly, highly unlikely that you're going to sell it at that. Let's be honest. Pricing around market, slightly under market, especially right now, is so advantageous to sellers because they position themselves to have multiple offers, and more than likely you'll be able to push the envelope a little bit if you have multiple offers. So that's definitely a huge key component. You don't want after it's not a new listing anymore, not a lot of people see it, it's kind of like, oh, and then it sits too long, what's wrong with this property, blah, 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 blah. Like let's go and lowball it since it's been sitting on the market for so long. There's just there's a lot of negatives that come to pricing too high, and the seller doesn't understand that a lot of times because they think that like, oh, we can just drop it later on or whatever. Like it's super important. Those first 2 weeks are so crucial, and making sure that it's priced right is a key player in that part. The last one, negotiating. This is my favorite part. I get so excited. So yeah, making sure that we get exactly what the client wants, or as close to perfection as possible. Because they are number one, obviously. So it's not just taking a couple pictures and posting it on the internet. There's a lot more that goes into the real estate, realtor side of listing a property. So from soup to nuts, this is kind of a little breakdown, what you can expect from the beginning to the end. All right. So everyone, thank you so much for stopping by and listening to my Let's List It. Next week, we will have something with buyers. I don't know what yet, but please stop by, check us out, subscribe to my channel. And as always, please don't hesitate to call or text me if you have any questions about real estate at all. I'm at your service and will be happy to help. So have a lovely day, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.